So we discussed problem number 9 in our homework. It said I have an object put on the horizontal plane, it's being dragged, blah, blah, blah. And the important thing is it told you the equation of the drag force. And they say, I know what's the W, what's the mu. Well, if it helps, you could have put those numbers in so it looks slightly simpler than the original structure. So you could have written it like this, and it's 0.4, and then you have sine of t, and then you have cosine of t. So it says, could you please find the derivative? Well, the only unknown variable in your structure here is the t, so you want to take derivative. It's clearly a division. Well, you could have made your life slightly easier by figuring out what is 65 multiplied by 0.4, which is 26. But of course, you could have left it like that. Either way works. It's just whatever you like. And then you take the derivative. You take the derivative of the numerator multiplied by the denominator, which is what chain rule tells us to do, and then minus the numerator times the derivative of the denominator. Takes the derivative, and then you have the denominator squared, right? So this is how we work it out. And then the next thing is you want to carry out all your calculations, be very explicit. 26 is a constant, so the derivative is 0. So I'm having this term as 0, hence multiplying the whole thing, it's just simply going to disappear, right? So what I end up with is 0 minus, so negative 26 times 0.4 sine of t plus, oh my bad, I'm supposed to take derivative. So multiply by 0.4 times the derivative of sine of t, which is cosine of t, plus the derivative of cosine t, which is negative sine of t, and then divided by the denominator squared. So there's really nothing fancy about this problem in particular. It's essentially just they have variables representing some constant. You plug the constant in and you use quotient rule to take the derivative. Well, the next part says when the rate of change equals to 0, that is another way of saying your derivative equals 0. So you have your f prime of t equals 0. If one thing divided by another equals 0, it must lead to the fact that your numerator has to be 0. So what you end up with is some expression which looks like this, right? Which equals 0. That is to say 0.4 times cosine of t minus sine of t equals 0. So you end up with 0.4 cosine t is the same as sine t. Namely, cosine 4 is sine t divided by cosine t, which by the way is tangent t. So you could have looked it up and saying what exactly is the point that, what exactly is the angle that makes your function to get the value of a tangent value to be 0.4. And this is essentially an inverse function. So your t is tangent inverse 0.4. You could have typed it in as tan negative 1 to the power of negative 1.4. Okay, so this is what you could do to solve problem number 9.